Hi, this is a short video on Nintex Analytics. So when you look at the entire suite of tools within Nintex, we're just going to cover this short little piece over here on the right-hand side called Process Intelligence. And we're going to focus on the analytics piece. So internally, we call this Hawkeye, our analytics tool. You can visit this or get access to it at portal.hawkeyecloud.com. And once you get logged in, you'll have the ability to leverage what we call lenses within the analytics tool. And the lenses are basically pre-built Power BI dashboards that allow you to see what's going on within your environment. So I'll walk you through each of those three lenses. The first lens that you'll see is the usage lens that will load right here. And the usage lens just typically shows you what you're doing within your environment. So I'm going to expand this and make it a little bigger so that you can see it. So you'll see in here how many workflows we have published, how many events. You could come down here on the different tabs, look at individual instances. We'll have 2,900 in this environment, along with the number of actions that we're using, along with tasks as well. So a lot of different data that you can get within the individual usage lens. And again, these are pre-built lenses that are out there for you. Now, we also have another lens which shows you some data here called the inventory lens. So I'm going to open this one up in this particular environment. And the inventory lens shows you what's going on across all of your Nintex workflow environments that you have chosen to direct towards the inventory lens. So within this environment, you'll see that we've connected it to an on-prem SharePoint 2016 environment. We have 247 workflows there. A Nintex Workflow Cloud environment, we have 370 there, or 71. And I believe this is a SharePoint Online environment with 5 workflows. So we'll see the different environments here and the total workflows. And then you can also come over here and look into the weeds a little bit more to see that this SharePoint on-prem environment, the events site, has 30 workflows. And then you'll see top 5 locations, publishers down here. And then we have several other views down here. Here's a little bit better breakdown on the individual environments. So you'll see workflow names, whether they're production, publishers, also over here, the different environments. And by the way, if you wanted to come in and see, well, let me see those workflows within the legal site. We have 10, and then you can see the individual names. Also, we can get in and see the individual publishers, who's actually using and building workflows. So you'll see Richard Rose building the most here at 119. And furthermore, you can slice and dice on this. So we can see all of Richard's workflows and where we're at. And probably my favorite view down here is the individual actions, so that you can see which actions you're using, maybe more importantly, which ones you're not using, so that way you can do some training on those actions. In this environment, send an email is the most popular action here, 248 across 45 different publishers. So great to see where these are using. Always come in and look at things like the state machine to see where you're using it at all. In this environment, we're using it a lot, but if for some reason you're not using it, then you may want to do a little training session. And then you can also get into individual instances down here as well, so that you can filter on workflows that have been completed, canceled, failed, all kinds of great data. So you can see here, we're probably working on a workflow here. We had 17 failures that day on the 27th. So most likely we were probably building a new workflow, and we could confirm that in here if we needed to. So inventory lens is really, really helpful at having kind of this radar screen for what's going on in the environment. Now, we do have one more lens I want to focus on here for just a minute. We call this the process lens. And this is focused on an individual workflow. The usage lens and the inventory lens are focused on more of your environment as a whole, but the process lens focuses on an individual workflow. So in this example, we'll look at the expense reimbursement process. So I'll go ahead and click on that and open it up, and this lens will load. Now, we're using data from the actual workflow tool. So if we go in and look at a workflow environment, you'll see over here on the left-hand side that we have these beacons, and you can place these beacons in multiple locations. So you could put a beginning beacon at the top, an ending beacon over here after the approval or reject. So you can put these beacons in multiple locations, and we could report on that data. And you get to tell the analytics tool exactly which individual pieces of data. It's not going to just communicate all workflow data. You have to tell it every piece. So in the process lens here, you can see the different categories of expense reimbursement. Also the departments over here as well. We can filter on these. So if I click on sales, you'll see what makes up the sales component of that. Also, we can see the number of expenses that have been submitted, 701 across 1.46 million. Also performance. This is probably my favorite tab down here because of the beacons that we placed in the workflow. We can see that it's taking managers 3.3 days to approve. And then for the next approval for the executive, it's a day and a half. It takes payroll almost 2.5 days to pay it. So overall, it's 6.6 days to get expenses processed. This is great because you can see what's going on in your individual workflows and make them much more efficient. So if we wanted to take the duration from 6 days, maybe to 5 or 4 days, let's go talk to our managers first because we now have the data that they are taking the longest. Now, you could even get into the weeds a little bit further to see what departments, what years. You could even have individual users if you want to communicate that data so that you can slice and dice on it. So it looks like the management team is taking 6.45 days versus the sales team. They're taking 6.69 days, a little bit longer on average to get things done. So really, really nice to see what's going on in there. Also, there's other tabs down here that you can get into as well. Now, you may want to deviate from these tabs down here. Within the lens, you get kind of a fixed dashboard. You'll probably want to deviate from them. And if that's the case, come up here and just click on the dashboard actions. And you can select right here on the left-hand side to download this lens into Power BI directly. And when you do that, you can then deviate from the 7 tabs at the bottom and continue to build out additional tabs. So the whole data model is going to be right within Power BI, but you can build out your own tabs. So that's how you get out of our lenses that we've given you and into your own. Now, in the event that you want to use another tool, maybe it's Tableau or Excel, you can always use the OData connection down here at the bottom. And you can use the OData connection to push that data into that other system of record like Tableau. So it's a great way to come out here and really understand what's going on within your workflows and be able to run analytics on all of that. So I hope you've enjoyed this particular video and let us know if you have any other questions that come up. Thanks.